Let's have a discussion. People have questions. They would like answers. Let's talk about the issues. Confront the things that may be difficult to address. The Black narrative. Greetings and welcome. My name is Steve Muhammad, and you're tuned in to the Black narrative on the NNB network. And today we're going to be talking about pregnancy. We're going to be talking about the importance of doulas. And for many of you, you probably have never heard of that phrase. So we're going to be talking with Sister Tiffany Terry. And she's a realtor at Home Experts Realty LLC. She's the owner and professional birth and postpartum doula at Conscious Mama Doula Services LLC. She's a wife, she's a mother, and she's the boss. So I want to greet you, sister. How you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing well, and this is our second go around because I think that this is a very important subject, the importance of doulas in the role of having a safe and healthy pregnancy. So let's go ahead and get right on into it, and let's talk first about pregnancy, and should it be taught at the age of understanding? Because as you know, many of our sisters and our brothers, once the pregnancy, once the mother finds out that she's pregnant, really that's the time that we start to panic and research and trying to find out, what we should do during pregnancy. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, can't she hear? Oh, go ahead. Go right ahead. Yeah. Do you think that, mhm.
I definitely think that pregnancy should be taught at a much earlier age than it is. Not necessarily maybe even like the conception part, but really trying to get young women to understand, that pregnancy impacts you way before you get pregnant. So there are a lot of things that you need to do at preconception, such as, ensuring that you're in a healthy state, your body is healthy. You understand how stress is impacting you, and things that you can do. Prenatal vitamins are something that you should be taking prior to actually getting pregnant, because you have better outcomes. And so it's definitely something that we shouldn't start when a woman gets the positive test. We should, prior to that, getting her prepped if that's something that she wants to do, or even if just women at the pregnancy age or at the childbearing age, they should have those type of tools and be given those conversations at their appointments with their gynecologist prior to them conceiving.
Right. And so, in this society, unfortunately, there's no rites of passage program that brings young men and young women into that adult arena, if you will. But pregnancy is more than just a physical activity. It's also mental and spiritual, isn't it?
Yes, it impacts you on all levels. As the one who has been pregnant multiple times, it's something that because it's a state that your body is in for an extended period of time, and it impacts you on a lot of levels that you don't even understand. And so once you become pregnant, now your mind is, focusing on this new life that I'm carrying, and I'm bringing that into this world. You want to keep yourself safe, because you being safe means the baby is safe while the baby is in your womb. But then when the baby comes, now you're responsible for another life that will go, way beyond 1 year, forever. For the rest of your life, you're forever changed by
Mhm.
having a child. And so it is something that you do need, because it's kind of like preparing for a marathon. It's not a quick race. It's something that it's going to change you, and it changed how you get to operate your life after that point. And so you do need to have some tools and understand how pregnancy can impact you mentally. Women end up with like postpartum depression or anxiety. They go through a lot of different things. They don't understand why they're feeling that way. There are some complications within pregnancy that aren't always talked about. We don't even understand how like our environment, our upbringing, things that happen to us as a child, or even our parents as a child, can overall impact our pregnancy, at a subconscious level, at a minimum. And so we don't really understand how everything is connected. And so there definitely needs to be more education and more time that's taken with women as a whole, just to kind of groom you to understand like pregnancy is bigger than just having this new baby. It's a lot of things that go into it. And I think, we definitely might see a lot of a change in our outcomes because you can maybe prepare more and, prepare on all levels, not just getting a crib or getting the baby some onesies or planning a baby shower, like planning like what are you going to do now? How are you going to change your life? What do you have in place for years to come? How are you going to take care of this baby and yourself?
Right, right, definitely. And so, one of the issues, of course, that's been in the news for quite a while, even before the pandemic struck, was the fact that Black women here in the hills of North America, and I say that because it's a very toxic environment, especially one where you have a high rate of maternal and infant mortality. In your understanding, um, what are some of the causes of those high rates of maternal and infant mortality?
Well, one of the biggest causes that I feel sometimes isn't explicitly stated, but the reality is racism. There's been a lot of studies, and I had a past at a health department that I used to work for, and so I had access to all of the stats, and we did a lot of different studies and surveys and things like that. And they did some comparisons of women when they first came to the United States from other countries, and just within a year or so of them being here, they were already starting to adopt some of the outcomes of the Black women. I'm speaking specifically for African women who come here from African countries and they begin to live in the States. They started to have some of the same outcomes that Black women have, but they weren't experiencing those when they were in those other countries. And so, when I say racism, you have to think about like the generational things that we carry, our childhood experiences, all of that stress is very toxic to your body.
Yeah.
And when you are becoming pregnant, which is already something that's just naturally going to stress your body out because you have to gain weight, you're carrying a baby, it's a lot of different things you're changing. And even though 9 months may seem like a long time, it's really not a long time to grow a whole person. And then instantly, now there's a new, now it's new, and then the
Right.
baby's out. Now we're just, oh, back to normal. And so because we don't have a lot of those things in place to kind of protect Black women, and to protect Black people due to all of the racial injustices, inequities, stress, just all the hardships that we have to face being Black in America. That compounds, and over your lifetime, now you have all of these extra stressors that a white person wouldn't have. And so when you become pregnant, now
Mm.
it's just compounding onto the already, high levels of stress that you've been experiencing for years. And then now, some women, because it's not just about economic level or education level. It isn't just poor Black women having babies that aren't making, or poor Black women that are dying. There are women who have high level degrees, high profile jobs, and no matter what a Black woman achieves, she still cannot escape the stress of being Black in America. No matter
And
what money, being
mhm.
married, it doesn't matter. And so all of that is very toxic to our bodies. And when we have to carry our children, our uterus and our bodies, they're not able to keep them because we are so stressed out, and some women, they don't even recognize that they're stressed because they're carrying these loads, and oh, it's just the way it is. So prime example, I would ask women like, are you stressed? Oh no, I'm not stressed. But she just told me that someone died in her family. She was barely making ends meet,
Mm.
or she had a job and she had to prove herself every day, and they didn't give her any breaks or care that she was pregnant, and she just had to keep moving along. But we're not identifying those as stressors because we as Black people, we are strong, we are resilient. But we shouldn't have to take this much damage, take this much, all of these targets that are on our back. Although we're strong and we're resilient as a people and we can overcome situations, it still is impacting our body no matter how we persevere. Our body is still feeling those effects. And something like pregnancy is something that exposes those effects that are uncut, that are hidden. You may not really see the
Yes,
exterior,
right. You're
but they're
absolutely
still there.
right, right. And I think, one of the best examples of what you're talking about is Serena Williams, right? I mean, here is a
Hmm.
wealthy Black woman, but not only is she wealthy, right? But she's a sports athlete. So her body is in what you would call optimum, shape. And yet she
Exactly.
still suffered some maternal issues.
Hmm.
And once again, you can chalk it up to really just a toxic environment that Black people live in, and then especially Black women and Black pregnant
Hmm.
women, especially specifically, I should say. Um,
Yes.
so let's talk then, because we're just talking about Serena Williams and her health. Let's talk about the health and the diet. That's another issue, though, isn't it, on our part
Hmm.
as Black women, a poor diet and then going into pregnancy. Can you talk about that?
Yes. Nutrition and, as I mentioned earlier, having your body in the best shape possible. It's kind of like an athlete preparing for, like if you were LeBron James and you're preparing for the finals. You want to be in the best shape because that's going to be extensive wear and tear on your body for an extended period of time. And so, you don't want to start trying to get healthy after you're already pregnant. Most women are advised to not start to adopt new exercise routines because you're already pregnant now and you haven't already been doing that, and that could cause more harm than good. So you want to already be in a healthy state. You want to already have proper nutrition, high water intake, because you're going to need water is like the key in pregnancy. Having a great variety of vegetables and fruits, in your diet. Having a good weight, having a really good BMI matters. My first pregnancy, I'll just talk about me personally. My first pregnancy, I was much larger than I was with my second pregnancy, in addition to having a stressful job. And, I didn't eat the best during my pregnancy because I was so stressed. And you started the ball late. I didn't, when I got pregnant is when I started to, oh, I'm pregnant. Let me take these vitamins. Let me try and make these changes. And just like any type of habit change, anyone who just wants to start losing weight, you don't just do it overnight. It takes time. And so it's too late to start the healthy lifestyle at pregnancy.
Mm,
You have to start that before you're pregnant. It has to be incorporated in so that you can sustain it. Because, when you are pregnant, you are gaining weight. You need to eat more, but not like you're eating for, triplets or something. But,
right.
you do need to eat more, but healthy foods. And, you may have some cravings and things that you hear women say all the time, but you should already be able to balance that and have some discipline. And, unfortunately suffer illnesses, obesity, diabetes, hypertension. And those things can transfer over into the pregnancy where women develop gestational diabetes, or women who may be severely obese. Their body isn't able to maintain the baby, and so they may have to have some type of hormones injections, or just complications getting the baby out. So there are a lot of different things that can impact you. So it is, any woman, you know, if you are even considering being pregnant, if you're in a relationship where you are sexually active and you aren't doing things to not be pregnant, then my conversation is, if you're not doing things to not be pregnant, then you're planning for a pregnancy,
Mm,
and therefore you should be doing things to plan to get pregnant.
mm. Very
Simple,
good.
if
Right.
you aren't taking steps to not be pregnant, and I'm not saying you have to take birth control or whatever, but if you aren't doing things to not be pregnant, then you are planning to be pregnant, pretty much. It just
Yeah.
takes
I
one
mean,
time.
really. Yeah. Simple as that, isn't it?
Yes. So you
Nature.
should be doing
Hmm.
those things. Yeah, exactly. And there are some things that some women, we may live in food deserts, and those things do apply. Um, but I do strongly believe that, we do have a responsibility as individuals to ensure that we're getting what we need. And there are programs and things that exist that can help you. I know a lot of programs sometimes provide women with, produce, or there's some type of things you can do, but there are things that we do have to overcome. I don't want to glance over those, but ultimately, as individuals, we do need to ensure that we're taking care of ourselves or getting some help if we don't know what that means. And I do feel like doctors, like, when you go in before you get pregnant and just seeing your gynecologist on an annual basis, I don't feel that I ever personally received any preconception help. I didn't
Mm.
really have conversations where they were saying, like, oh, are you planning to be pregnant in the next year or so? Like, what are your plans, for pregnancy? I didn't really have those conversations. And I don't have, like the government healthcare or anything. So some people may say, "Oh, well, maybe because it's an insurance thing." No, I have work, worker health insurance at the time, through my husband and my job, and I still didn't have those type of conversations. It's just not happening.
Right, right. You're absolutely right. And I just wanted to say that we have that expression that it takes a village to raise a child, but that starts when we see that pregnant uh, daughter, or we see that pregnant niece, or we see that pregnant wife. I think
Hmm.
that the whole family needs to be involved into making sure that she's taken care of,
Yeah.
especially during those 9 months that they're
Yep.
looking out for her. I mean, pregnant Black women in our community, we have to see them literally as gold or diamonds that are produced in the earth, because they're bringing in new life and
Hmm.
perpetuating our people. One of the things that you did touch on that I really wanted, and we'll go right on into the positives, but we just wanted to talk about some of these negatives, some of these problems. And one of the last ones that I wanted to deal with, you touched on, was the adversarial position that the doctors and the hospitals take because of their Western method
Hmm.
of birth or labor, and all that that's involved. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because one other thing is that when the family goes in as well, there's some friction there, because you have a large amount of Black people in one place, and so you have some friction. But
Hmm.
can you talk about that whole role of the hospitals, and then we'll get right
Hmm.
on into why it's so important that we have doulas.
Yeah. Well, you touched on it very well. When you start the process, meaning like prenatal care, I can speak personally. My husband, he would accompany me on all of my visits. And the hospital, like the way it's designed, is that like they're kind of talking to the mother, and I understand because I'm the patient, but pregnancy is bigger than just me. I need him so that I can be taken care of, and so will this child. And so I feel like they sort of kind of leave or exclude the father or whomever accompanies you to those visits, and to kind of talk to just the mom, but yet expect things to happen when you get home as if you're just doing it by yourself. And some women are, but for those women who are not doing it by themselves, they shouldn't exclude that extra person, because we need them to make sure that we are taken care of. I shouldn't be driving myself to the hospital in full blown labor. So I need this person to hear what you're telling them so that they can make sure that I'm following the rules and the protocols that you are working with me on, and that I have the help to kind of stick to the plan. And then, when you do go into the hospital, um, it's just, I've had the ability or the privilege to, accompany multiple women, all type of races, at their birth. And unfortunately, I have noticed a difference in the way the Black moms and other moms are treated. You know, simple as like policies that weren't there with the white mom are now here with this black mom. And so that is another stressor and something that we do have to be up against. Like in the case of Serena Williams, you know, she was trying to communicate that something is not right with me. But often, because black women or black people as a whole are seen as these strong superheroes who can feel no pain, when we try to communicate that something is wrong, it's often, you know, oh, you know, you're not in pain, or oh, you're not hurting, or oh, you're fine. You know, and so those type of cases, those do happen. I had a mom, you know, who was in a lot of pain because the doctor was very aggressive with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she had to fight to say, like, he can no longer touch me.
Mm.
And they were like, oh, you know, you're being sensitive. Oh, you know, so those kind of conversations do happen, which adds another layer of stress. Even as a doula, you know, as
Mm-hmm.
someone who's there to support the mom, you know, I have to turn for advocate, and kind of it takes away a little bit from what I was originally there to do, which is to be there for her, because now I have to, you know, play this advocate role, which, you know, you kind of are, but with a black mom, you have to do it a bit more, because you have to kind of keep your eyes open, because, you know, they're doing things, or you need to kind of keep her up to date on things that are happening that maybe she didn't want to ask for, because she can't tell, because she's
Mm-hmm.
obviously in pain, and in a, you know, like in a distressed state. So, you know, it does add another layer. The hospital overall, when you get there, it's medical. And, you know, I don't necessarily view birth as a medical thing. I feel like it's
Right.
very natural. It's what we were designed to do. And so the hospital, because of its nature, it's a medical place, it's a facility. So birth is treated as a procedure
Mm.
and not some type of natural thing that we can do anywhere. And so, not to excuse like that the hospital isn't necessary, because sometimes things do happen. And I am grateful that we do have the advancements in technology and medicine to help with those cases, but not all pregnancies and births should be treated as a procedure. And so
Right.
when you start to think of it in that way, it adds a layer of stress, because now you're being forced to do things just because it's protocol or it's a procedure, or now we're having a medical practice happening to us. So, yeah, it's, you know, it's tough. I mean, just as a doula going in, you know, I get very frustrated, and the way some of my moms are treated. You know, I personally had experiences that weren't favorable. And, you know, I'm like, why is this happening to me? Like, I'm a dude, you know, like I understand. And, you
Mm.
know, it's just a constant, you know, just fighting for like normal things, like fighting for your
Right.
sheets to be changed, or, you know, fighting for someone to come because like you are hurting and you can't figure out why. And
Mm.
you shouldn't have to fight, because you have to pay a lot of money to have a baby at a hospital.
Right.
It's not
Right.
cheap. You know, even if insurance covers it, if you look at that bill, because I'm all about itemizing my finances.
That's
And so
right.
when I received that bill, I'm like, it costs $200 for some socks. You know, they
Mm.
charge for everything in there. And so the price that you're paying, even if your insurance does cover it, you know, you shouldn't have to fight for someone to come answer the nurse button because you are hurting. Like that's what you're there for. And
Right.
so those kind of things, it does make it worse, because then things get ignored. And, you know, and then like Akira Johnson, she died.
Mm.
She has a husband who, you know, her husband, his mother is Judge Hatchett. So she's like you know, she has money. She
Right.
was at the top hospital in her area and died from just a routine cesarean section. She shouldn't have had to die from it, but they weren't listening to the family. They weren't listening to her. And she sat there for 18 hours bleeding
Mm.
internally, to the point where when she got back in there, there was nothing that they could do. She had already had her baby, but she just wasn't, something wasn't right after she had the baby. And she was losing excessive amounts of blood, and they weren't doing anything about it for over 18 hours. And this isn't someone that's poor, or, you know, she had people with her who were advocating for her to go, please take her back there, please look into it. And they just kept brushing her off, kept taking their time. And this woman died and she didn't have to,
Mm.
you know, so it's bigger than, it's just big. It's big on
Yeah.
a lot of levels. I could go into it all day, but I know we have more questions. But yeah, I'm sorry.
Absolutely, though. I mean, you know, you point out what many, of course, call institutional racism, right? So here's once again another institution, including the schools. Now you have the hospitals. Every institution is
Hmm.
tainted with this white supremacy, and hospitals are not absent from that. So now let's go ahead and get on into doulas, because um, one of the things that we know that in our community is that a doula really is nothing new to us. It's being reintroduced to us really because we were robbed of our culture. But
Hmm.
this was always a part of our culture. But now, can you explain what a doula is,
Hmm.
and the role of a doula?
Well, you're very right. Doulas, like this isn't a new phenomenon. Women have been supporting women in childbirth since forever. And
Mhm.
so really, my role as a doula is, I'm not a medical professional. I don't deliver babies. I don't do anything medical. I am strictly just like this support person that is there, more like a guide. Like the definition um, that I use is like it's an Ethiopian definition of like a doula, which is a walking stick. And so what I view myself is like this guide, this support that's just there to kind of anchor you, help you through the process. Yes, I have gone through trainings and I continue to stay up to date on just things that are related to pregnancy and childbirth. So I do have that type of knowledge in terms of like, what like the stages of pregnancy, kind of helping you understand what your body is going through and giving you some support to what you should be getting from your medical provider. And so I do have that in, but strictly just like a birth doula, we offer prenatal support. So, what I do for my clients is we have multiple meetings. I assist them with developing like a birth plan because, I'm all about planning and I think you should do stuff to prepare. You don't want to go into there with no game plan. And even though we are not in ultimate control of anything. That's the higher powers role. We don't have control, but we do have the ability to, set our intentions and kind of outline like what do we want to happen if we had the perfect scenario. And
Right,
so what I help moms do is kind of walk through like, have you explored, how do you want to labor? Do you want any medication? Because as a doula, I don't only help moms who say they don't want meds. Every mom needs a doula, even if she's getting an epidural, even if she's getting a cesarean section, whatever you are getting, my goal is to help you do what you want to do and to give you the tools and the resources and the extra, educational piece to help you make that informed decision. I help them from anywhere, providing them with information on if they want to vaccinate their child, if they want to circumcise their child, just giving them all the information, helping them prepare for breastfeeding. What does that look like? I'm all about baby wearing, so I help them with learning how to wrap their baby if that's something that they want to do. Cloth diapering, I cloth diaper my kids, so helping them understand what that looks like. I just want to give you all the options.
right,
Anything, just really being like a wealth of knowledge, resources, but mostly, most of my work is text messages like, I'm not feeling right, or what is this, or, like, can I take this, or someone said that, helping them navigate through all of the internet, Google. I'm like, don't Google, please.
right,
Stay off of Google because you will diagnose yourself with some type of condition that you don't have. Um, and just being like a person that's I'm not a doctor, I'm just here for you. Any questions, anytime, day or night, when I'm there with them the entire birth, unlike a doctor or even nurses, they change shifts. I don't.
right,
Something that I am implementing is that I do have other doulas that I'm working with because I am human. I can't stay up forever and not get tired. And so, I do have a backup doula in case it gets too much. Like my most recent birth last month was like 36 hours, a long time to be there, just me there the entire time. So there, it can be extensive in terms of your timing, but just being there and never leaving, like just having your back, supporting you. If you want your back rubbed, you need some water, like, do we need to pray? Like, whatever you need, like, do we need to change the music? Do you not want someone in here? And then helping the partner because I'm all about like, this is a team thing. Like, this woman did not get pregnant by herself.
Right.
And so whoever this person is, especially if they're still involved, like not wanting to overstep those boundaries and allowing that person to be there to support, because a lot of dads, they want to be there and they want to support and they want to help, but it can be scary, especially all this stuff at the hospital, or seeing someone in pain. It's hard for loved ones to see someone in pain, which is why having a doula is helpful, because I'm used to this. I see
Right.
births all the time. I know it's going to be painful. I personally know, and I understand that this is a part of the process. And so, I help you stick to your goals. If you
So
said you didn't want
mhm.
meds, whatever I have to do to keep you to not get those meds is what I'm going to do.
That's right. So that's what we love about the doulas. I mean, really, you all are on the front line for that woman, for that family, And
Hmm.
when I say family, I'm not just talking about that male and that female, for the whole family. The doula is there on the front line because once again, that's perpetuating that family's lifeline, that child
Hmm.
being born. So how does one go about finding the doula, and at what stage do doulas enter into the picture?
Unfortunately, there isn't like this universal doula registry. And to be quite honest, most of it is word of mouth. I know me personally, when I first became a doula 5 years ago, I was like, how are people going to find me? And I
Right.
know that when I was pregnant with my first child, which is what prompted me to become a doula, I wanted a doula, but I wanted a doula that looked like me, because
Right, no
I
doubt.
knew that I was going to potentially maybe encounter all white women or all people who didn't look like me. And so I needed somebody that I felt like, kind of could relate to me and could help me, and I knew my family, and I needed somebody that could help us, navigate the space, like especially my mom and my sister, just needed someone. And so I didn't find that. In the hospitals, so as a doula, you can give your information to the hospitals. It's really important to network with the doctors. More importantly than the hospital is to learn the different doctors' offices and the different practices. So,
Mm.
what I did was I would go to different OBGYNs, leave some cards, offer just if you could give my information along. Um, Connecting with the hospitals to maybe give your information to be included in the prenatal classes, like because they do have lists of like doulas, so trying to get on the list at the local hospitals. But typically it's word of mouth. So I know for me, I do have like a Facebook page, I have a website, but it's not
And
designed, but
go
I do
ahead and
have
give
it.
and go ahead and give
Yeah.
your Facebook page out.
So it's Conscious Mama Doula Services. That's the name. And I have like reviews on there. I kind of post, things that are going on. A lot of moms have found me from either my Facebook page, or like if you Google doulas in Dayton, I've been creative with like my hashtags so
Mm.
that it can pull up my information like when people search for me or search for a doula. So that's another thing, kind of use those hashtags. They do work on
Mhm.
Google. So that's kind of how word of mouth is really big, especially in the Black community. Like we like to know, like did you like that person, or did it work for you? We always are asking anyone we know, friends or family, about a service to kind of learn about it. So that's really how someone would find out about a doula. And what was the other part?
Oh no, that was it. And
Oh,
what I
okay.
guess what stage does a doula
Oh,
enter
yes.
into the whole process?
So I have been able to work with moms preconception. I've had moms who were like, I'm planning to be pregnant and I want to already screen doulas so that when I get pregnant and I kind of keep up with them until they get pregnant, and then we kind of work together. Typically moms reach out for doulas once they pass like the first trimester, which like the first 12 weeks of pregnancy are like the highest chance for you to have a miscarriage. And so a lot of moms kind of wait until they get past that phase, which is kind of like, oh, okay, we're in the clear now. Some moms who have maybe had previous complications, like while they were pregnant, or had very bad experiences with their doctors, typically like to get doulas earlier because they just
Mhm.
need that type of support. But I've also had moms who reached out at 36 weeks and was like, hey, I thought I was good, but I don't know anymore. And like, we don't know what we're doing and we need a doula. Recently I've had moms who were like, I'm scared, that I'm gonna die in childbirth and I need a doula. And
Mm.
so, so it's a range. Personally, what do I prefer? I do like to work with you earlier, so I don't feel like we're trying to cram because building a relationship with someone, and you hit the nail on the head earlier. I do kind of become part of the family. Like, I meet everybody, the grandmas, the granddads, like the friends, everyone who's a part of this family. They wonder, like, who's this person? Like, who is she? Like, why she get to come in? You don't want me to come in. So those kind of things happen. So you do need to kind of establish that early on, because you need to get a feel for each other. I'm not the doula for everybody.
Right.
Some people may not like me as a doula, and that's perfectly fine. You need someone that you can kind of gel with, and you kind of have a good feel for that person, someone you feel like can best represent you. But so I
Mm.
do think earlier is better, but but whenever you get one, if you can, it's fine. But earlier does give you more chance to have a better experience, I think, because the doula gets to know you, you build a relationship, and then they can better serve you, when you get to the
Right.
hospital.
So right, right. And so doulas, they do they will go to the hospital. But do you also do like home births? Is that something
Hmm.
that a doula would do? All right. Yeah.
Yes, we do home births. The only requirement is that most doula trainings have you use the scope of practice, so that we don't confuse ourselves or start operating in things that we have no business doing. So I do
Right,
not
right,
moms at home births unassisted. So it won't be just me and you at the house, because
right.
that would be doing a disservice to you, because I am not a medical professional. Although I'm very familiar, I've attended a lot of births, I cannot deliver the baby. Like, that's not my
Right.
job, and that's not what I want to do. I mean, I would go be a midwife if I wanted to do that. So,
Yeah.
some women get confused on like what a doula and a midwife is. A midwife is pretty much an OBGYN. There are different types of midwives. You can have a nurse midwife, which are the ones that in the state of Ohio are allowed to be in the hospitals and deliver. But then
Hmm.
there are certified professional midwives who can deliver at the home, but sometimes are not recognized in the hospital. But as long as you have a midwife with you, I will come to a home birth, but I just won't go with just us, because I don't know how to save you or the baby if that came to be, and so I wouldn't want to be in that situation, and I shouldn't be, because that's operating outside of my scope. But we do accompany women at home births. A lot of women have doulas at home births, to help them with their midwives and kind of just help the process. So we really would go anywhere. I mean, I have got to the house before, like when a mom accidentally had the baby at home. So those things happen when we're laboring at home, and we kind of didn't judge our time well enough, and we didn't make it to the hospital and the baby just had to
Uh-oh.
come.
Right.
Those situations happen. That's fine. And we immediately call for help and have somebody on the way. But yeah, so we go to homes or hospitals. It doesn't matter.
All right then. And so it takes two, right? So how do the
Yeah.
doulas work with the papas? How do the doulas work with the fathers? Because along with the doulas, especially going into the hospital where you're really in adversarial territory, the doula and the father, have to be the front line of defense, because some of these hospitals try to sneak in vaccines, vaccinating your child when you didn't want the child vaccinating, giving the mother medicine when she clearly stated that she didn't want any
Hmm.
medicine. So, how do you work with the fathers? How do you work with the fathers?
So, I love the dads. I need the dads because,
Right,
some of the women I've had to be a doula for, I didn't know them. So, it's kind of different when a woman is telling you like, oh, here's the things to expect, but the dad knows her
right,
and knows, like when you're pregnant, you especially your first pregnancy, you don't know how you're going to show up in labor. And so, like when I say that, I mean like you're in a pain and experience you've never been in before. And so sometimes, they retreat to something different that maybe they didn't display or tell me. And so the dads are always like, now she's saying this, but she really not like that, or or she really doesn't like that, and you'll see. So they do kind of help you kind of get to know the mom,
Mm,
but also like you mentioned, we are like a team in terms of our goal is to make sure that mom and baby leave this hospital in one piece and not just healthy, but like mentally not disturbed. For
hmm.
like she didn't get messed with to where she is now mentally robbed or emotionally drained from having to fight for things that she shouldn't have to. So we are a team. So when I first entered the arena, I like to talk to the dads like, what do you want to happen? Like, what do you want? How do you want to show up? What do you want your role to be? And I've had some dads who called me like, I need you to help me because I don't know what I'm doing. Or
Hmm.
I've had moms like, I really just got you to be his doula because he's going to need some help.
Man.
But really, just kind of establishing a relationship to say, like, I'm not here to take your place. Like, I'm not cutting cords. I'm not like, this is your baby. I just want to help you guys so where you don't have to think about some things. You could just be because it's your experience too. And so
Hmm.
I want you to be able to be present and experience this, journey as well and not have to worry about some things, that I can kind of take care of. Or
No.
not, or like if a dad, sometimes we like, okay, like he needs a break. He doesn't have to feel scared to fall asleep or go to the bathroom because no one else is going to be in there with her when he leaves. Um,
Right.
and you talked about sometimes things being snuck into the rooms. I've had the experience where my mom specifically said she did not want her water broken, and
Mm,
the dad didn't know what the tool looked like that they used. So when they were going to check her cervix to see how much she had progressed, I saw that they were taking the tool that they used to break the water and putting it in there. And I said, well, wait a minute. I said, well, hey, mom and dad, I know you guys said you didn't want your water broken. It
right.
looks like she is going ahead and doing that. Is that something you still didn't want?
Right.
And they
Right.
were like, well, no, we didn't. And so that, forced them to, so because I know some of the things to look out for that dad, he may not know. And so
Right.
that's kind of how we help each other. Or, unfortunately, if something does happen, if mom goes into an emergency C-section and sometimes they release the baby to the dad, I can help him like do some skin to skin, help keep him calm, helping him kind of just feel okay, being his doula then, because, if he can't go in there with her, he's a wreck, because they're scared. This isn't what they planned. So kind of helping him stay there and then kind of managing family. Unfortunately, sometimes families are very excited, especially with the firstborn grandchild. And so it can be overwhelming. The mom may not want everyone in there, but they may not feel comfortable saying it. So them helping me understand like when she comes in, like we need you to kind of help that. So that's really kind of establishing a team,
Right.
not wanting them to feel like I'm coming to take over or like I know them better, no more than them because they know them. They know their baby. I'm just here to help.
Right, right, absolutely. And once again, you pointed out, and we can't stress enough that when you go into these hospitals, man, you got to be careful because one of the things too that doctors try to do is, they trying to get on that golf course or they got some luncheon or dinner, and so they'll try to persuade
Sorry, my
the
son.
mother to have a C-section, or like you said, they will break the water, or nurses. So you can, as a doula, uh,
Hmm.
working with the mother, you can let that mother know that she has the right. For
Hmm.
instance, if a nurse is too rough, to ask for another nurse.
And that's exactly, my goal. And like even in my contract that women sign when they hire me, I don't speak for women because I'm really careful on how I enter the situation because the doctors they get real, like if I'm saying she didn't want that, what I do is I put it back on that mom, like, hey, it looks like, or hey, I noticed, or remember you said you didn't want that, or I'll say, do you need a minute? And then I'll ask the doctor, like, is this an emergency or can she have a minute to think about it? And then
Mm,
that way it kind of backs them off and forces them to have to identify, like, well, this really isn't an emergency. And then we can have a chance for her to breathe and to calm down because they may have scared her or she's just kind of panicking. And and she can take a minute. So I definitely do help with, you know, giving them all the resources in advance, or helping explain things that maybe the doctor is using high level medical terminology that they really could just spell it out plain, but they just, I don't know, don't want to. But you know, sometimes I will say something if it's like egregious. You know, I'll say, you know, like I will, like I like the one case where that man was so rough with that woman, her whole body just like moved, and her husband, you know, I wanted to keep him calm because he was like ready to go, and I was like, we don't need this, and they don't need this right now because we're trying to have a baby, you know,
Mm,
and so trying to keep him calm, but putting that into check and saying, like, you know, you have a right to say you don't want somebody to touch you.
that's right.
You have a right to say you don't want that done to your baby or to you. You can refuse any of these things if you don't want it. And reminding women that, because that's, you know, sometimes I feel like we aren't taught that. You know, we are just, we kind of go into these spaces thinking that we just have to do it because they said it,
It's that
and you
white coat
don't.
syndrome.
And so reminding us, like, this is your body and your baby, and you have a right to whatever happens to you. And so kind of empowering them to feel confident and comfortable in asking the hard questions and saying no, because you can say no. They have papers that they make you sign to refuse certain things. Sign it, or say I'm not signing it, because you can do that too.
Right.
Especially with like women who don't understand like vaccines, or they're scared, well, are they going to take the baby? And even most recently, women refuse, you know, who don't want to be tested for COVID, or don't want some of the vaccines that they may want, helping them understand, and not saying that I'm against vaccines, but if that's not what she or
That's
they
right.
want,
Right.
helping them learn that they don't have to do that,
Mm,
and helping them feel confident in asking questions. If you don't understand, you don't have to nod and wave. You say, I don't get it. So can you break it down? Because I'm not understanding you. I don't understand. What's the harm? What does this mean? So kind of just helping them feel comfortable, and, you know, not thinking that something's going to happen or that they're going to retaliate if they ask a question. Because some people are afraid of retaliation. You know, it's like
mm,
sending your meal back at a restaurant that you didn't like it. You don't want them to, are they going to spit in it or something like that? Like, and I understand that, but we still have to step up and say no, or, you know, or understand what our rights are in that
that's
moment.
right.
And
That's
so I
right.
do that a lot with my clients.
So now, and once again with the fathers, going into the pregnancy, getting that baby oil or cocoa butter or whatever it may be
Hmm.
to stop those, to help prevent those stretch marks. Do you work with them as far as that as well?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
I go into the home, and I help them with labor techniques. So I kind of help them, like, okay, if she's feeling pain here, she might need this. And so if they don't have a birthing ball, I usually give them one because it's like the best tool ever,
Mm,
especially with relieving pressure. So I kind of teach the partner how to do like back massages, or, you know, like some tips, the things you can do, helping them understand the signs of labor, helping them remind her to drink water, you know, and then also helping them with like ways to prevent things, like perineal massaging to help women prevent tearing. Those kind
mm,
of things can be happened in the beginning. Um, you know, just ways to keep her safe. When to call me if she won't. You call me because she may just be like, oh, it's nothing. But you can call me too if you feel like it's something, because it's your baby too. So, you know, definitely helping them kind of prepare, giving them little tools to use, to help them feel comfortable, being able to soothe her, and just kind of help with some of those things, especially when they go home. Helping him with breastfeeding, helping her breastfeed, you know, so like making sure not only she knows how to latch or how to do things, but he knows what to do too. One of the biggest things I always say is whenever she's breastfeeding, give her some water, you know, making sure she stays equipped with water, you know, helping the dad to not feel like, oh, well, she's breastfeeding, so what do I do? You can sit next to her, you know, you can bring the baby to her to breastfeed, you can burp the baby after she breastfeeds. You know, if you guys introduce bottles, you know, once she starts pumping, you can give the bottle. So just kind of helping them feel confident, helping them if they're scared about changing diapers. telling them that they need to do skin to skin too to establish a bond with the baby, helping them with baths and stuff like that. All of it, you name it, we go through it. They text me too, like, oh, what is this? Or the poop looks like this. What does this mean?
Right.
Or like, sometimes women, we get engorged or our milk can back up under your arm because that's where the glands are. Helping
Right.
them help her kind of massage and get the milk out, so that, she doesn't develop mastitis or an infection, because the milk is not being released. So kind of helping through those things.
Yes. Yes. That's beautiful. Because it's a family affair. It's a family
It is.
affair.
It
It's
takes two.
beautiful. It takes two. And yeah, definitely it takes two. So now, of course, now we get into a little bit of the touchy subject, and that is the cost.
Hmm.
How much do doulas charge, and is insurance something that's possible?
So I'll start off with the latter first. Doulas are not in the state of Ohio. Doulas are not covered through medical insurance. We are working on that. And
Right.
I'm currently a part of. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm currently a part of a grant. I have like a contract with a local health center, and we are kind of doing some pilot. I'm offering doula services to their clients, and we're kind of using this to help us gear up to get this covered.
Hmm.
So we're working on it. We're doing some research, but as it is right now, it's not it's not covered. So the
As with
cost can
most things
vary.
that are natural and holistic, as with most things that are natural and holistic, this
Yeah,
right.
really, I've tried to get it covered before. Like moms have asked me because I have like the MPI number, I have all of those things. I can take HSA cards. So if you have like a health savings account, I can use those cards and I can take that card and I can use that. But some women don't have that with their insurance. Um, so the cost can vary. Some doulas they offer like a lot of different things. Like my fee is $900, and that includes the prenatal visits, being there with you for the entire birth, and then also my postpartum time and all that in between. As a doula, we typically go on call, which means that like we don't do anything for weeks. We don't plan anything. We don't make any other arrangements once the mom hits full term. So once she turns 37 weeks, I know that it's baby time.
Right.
So, that means that I am having, I have children. I have a husband who has a full-time job. So I have to coordinate care for my kids. So I have people on standby. I could leave at any time. So it's a lot of coordination, kind of staying up, like waiting up at night, kind of holding the phone by your ear,
Right.
having it on loud, kind of waking up, I'm like, oh, we all wake up like, is that a call? Making sure you don't miss anything. So that time period, that does, and then for childcare or whatever, I have to pay for that. So that's my fee currently. Um, some doulas charge more than that. Like I know in Cincinnati, there are some doulas who are up into the $1,200 range. Some of them add more things. Like some of them are yoga instructors. Some of them do like placenta work, or they have other like credentials, and so they kind of add those in and package it. Some of them are massage therapists, and so their clients get massages. I wish I was a massage therapist and I can give you a massage, but I don't. I can give a little massage, but I won't be charging you for that because it's probably not,
Right.
nothing major. But yeah, so that's typically it's the average price I would say is probably like the $800 to $1,200 range in this area. Some doulas like newer doulas, they don't start off at $800. They sometimes go lower or even do it for free. I tell them not to,
Right.
because I don't feel like this is something that you should be doing for free because it is a lot of work and it is a
Right.
huge time commitment. And so, sometimes people don't understand like, well, what, $900? That's a lot of money. But if you think about it, like I'm probably not making a lot an hour because I was at a 36-hour birth,
Right. Right.
straight, no breaks, straight at the birth the whole time. Now, and child care, you got to pay for that, which can be costly, especially if I have to go into labor at 2 o'clock in the morning. I need someone to come over because maybe I don't have a family member available. So, and then traveling to the appointments, like it is your time. And so, we do cost, and I believe that we're worth it. And, I
Absolutely.
wish that the insurance companies would assist women because that is an additional expense that they do have to plan for. Some doulas offer sliding scales. I do allow payment plans. Typically, if it was like typical, they would pay the half when we sign the contract, and then they would pay the other portion once they hit the on-call period.
Hmm.
But some women are like, hey, I need to make payment plans. I'm definitely okay with that. We can definitely make some arrangements to kind of break it up. I understand. But that's typically what the cost is for a doula.
Right. And like you said, you're absolutely worth it. I mean, because of not just the support, right, but the advocacy. Once again, you want to have someone who's going to be in there fighting for you when you're in that position of giving birth and looking out for you when you're exhausted, because that's when they really get sneaky. So,
Exactly. And someone, and like you're paying for professionalism as well because, as a doula, when we enter into the hospital, they're like, well, you're not a nurse. I know that. I don't want to be. That's why I'm a doula, or I would have became a nurse.
right.
I'm not a doctor either. But you do have to have some skill level of being able to navigate that room because
Absolutely.
you have to be able to communicate with them on a level that doesn't ruin it for your mom to where like now they're mad or something like that. You have to be professional in how you talk to them and how you come off. Not saying you have to sugarcoat it or change who you are, but we everybody knows you gotta have some tact. You gotta have ways. Some people gotta deal with people a certain way, especially when this is someone's life on the
Right.
line. I don't want to come
Hmm.
in like rude or cursing or anything like that. You're definitely paying for someone who has the experience, who is professional, who knows how to navigate those rooms and those spaces that will benefit you.
Yeah, right. That's right. And so postpartum, how long do doulas stay with the mother after giving birth?
Forever. I
Mm.
have women who I still talk to and their baby is like my babies from when I first became a doula, they're all 4
All
now.
right.
And I still keep in contact with them. I would say, I believe that the postpartum period is is about 2 years. Honestly, there's even research that shows that like your brain, like how women say they have mom brain.
Right.
It's like it's scientific. So once you hit like the 3-month mark, your brain changes
Yeah.
when you're pregnant because
Hmm.
you need to be able to tap into like a more primal level. And so it helps you be able to get up when the baby is crying.
Hmm.
Like you need to be able to, like how moms can understand the baby's talking, but nobody else gets it because our brains are designed to like, this is this baby and we're in tune with them. Um, but up to 2 years after they're having a baby, you're still in that realm because that's still a baby until they, become into toddlerhood. And so I do believe that it's a longer period in terms of like my services. Like if you have a birth doula package with me, you get 3 prenatal visits, and I do like to get those within the first 6 to 8 weeks, because that's typically when if a mom is going to have some postpartum depression or anything like that,
Hmm.
that's a critical period, especially with feeding. Breastfeeding is something that I advocate for and I think is very important. And it's really challenging to breastfeed, especially in the beginning. And
Right.
so that's when women have the most complications with their breastfeeding in the earlier period. So that's typically where I garner my support. I am a postpartum doula as well, and I offer overnight stays and things like that. And so I typically do that for the first 3 months in terms of going into the home for the first 3 months. But I answer questions. I will still come over if you need me. I'm here for like a phone call away, advocating for you, whatever you need, because I understand that it can be a process. And so we really are connected. Like I know one of my colleagues, her one of her clients, like the baby's like 18, the kid is 18, but
Hmm.
they still see her, they still know her. The kid knows like you were my doula, you helped me. And so we're very connected with the families. Like we become part of the family. We celebrate birthdays with them, accomplishments. They send me videos of the first walk or look what they're riding a bike or stuff like that. So we are very connected, and I keep up with all my babies and all my moms. because I feel personal about it. I was there, like, you know,
That's
I
right.
helped you come to be. I used to rub the belly and sing to you and massage the belly and all that, the feet, whatever the mom needed, and then changed you, helped you breastfeed, was there for the first latch. So I feel very connected to my families.
Yes, that's beautiful. And so I want to thank you, for coming on. And can you give us, I guess, any parting words for doulas, for mothers, for families, as we go through this very exciting, intense, and terrifying
Yes.
time?
I would say the first step is, if you can try to plan to be pregnant or prepare yourself for pregnancy,
Hmm.
because getting into it late is just, it can lead to more complications on top of the things that we're already stacked against. So that's number one. Number two would be that everybody who is a part of that kid's life when it's born needs to be a part of the pregnancy and needs to be there for that mom, because it's not easy trying to raise a kid by yourself, going through pregnancy alone. Breastfeeding is most successful when you have other people there to support you. Women experience less rates of postpartum depression when they have a support system. And anybody, if you see a mom pregnant, open that door, give her some water, feed her,
Hmm.
say something nice to her, encourage her, support her, cover her, because they need it. They are carrying our future. So much of our vital statistics are indicative of the health of our babies and
Hmm.
those moms. So a baby can only be as healthy as his mom. If a
That's
mom
right.
is not healthy and not well mentally, physically, emotionally, the baby will not be either. They are very connected. And lastly,
Yes.
hire a doula.
Mm.
Get a doula whenever you're thinking of offering someone something for their baby shower. Buy them a doula. Go in together. Offer to
That's
give them
good.
some doula support, because doulas matter. Women need doulas, not just because I'm a doula, but I really strongly believe in it. I'm passionate about it. It really makes a difference. Those would be my parting words. Thank you so much for having me. I'm always a pleasure.
Thank you, thank you. And don't before you go, give out your contact information and your website once again.
Yes. So currently, I'm operating mostly on my Facebook page. I'm still in like a redesign of the website, but
Mhm.
on Facebook it's Conscious Mama Doula Services LLC, or you could just do Conscious Mama Doula. I have an Instagram and it's Conscious Mama Doula as well. My phone number is 937-604-0153. You can read all about it. I have reviews. Um, Links to things that I've done, previous conferences that I've spoken at. I have some of those on there, videos, whatever. You can send me a message or give me a call. I'm always available and always willing to help.
Thank you, sister, and I appreciate you coming on. And we'll continue to send people your way.
Thank you so, so much.
And so I want to thank you all for tuning in to Black Narrative, and we were talking about doulas and their importance in pregnancy, as we're taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that that Black woman, she's the second self of God. She's the co-creator with God, and so we need to do all that we can to protect, to respect, and to elevate the Black woman. And so, with that, I want to thank you all. And as always, we want you to share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. We want you to follow us on our social media sites, subscribe to our YouTube channel, National Network View. And this is Steve Muhammad with the Black Narrative. May God continue to bless you and your family with the light of truth and understanding. God bless.